right, good afternoon. Let's get this Development and Planning Committee started. It's 3:30 PM. Let the record reflect that all committee members are here. And with that, we will do the minutes of the August 27th, 2025 meeting.
I will, as Mr. Cost was excused, I will vote that.
We've got a proper motion in place. All those in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Sign, motion passes. Okay, we are to the time of public comment on agenda items. We'll have up to 3 minutes. I don't see anybody here from the public. Do we have anybody online willing to speak? Wishing to speak? Okay. All right, moving on down then. We are to the first discussion action item B, Resolution Act 3, 2025, Utility Easement 2020 and 2600 East Mount Hope Avenue for Consumers Energy. You doing, Mr. Feedwa?
Thank you. Just briefly, this is a request from Consumers Energy to create a 15-foot wide utility easement along the north property line of Fenner Nature Center. So that's the 2020 East Mount Hope Avenue property and Evergreen Cemetery. That's the 2600 Mount Hope Avenue property. This will be for the purpose of installing underground natural gas distribution lines that will serve customers within the city. You may remember there was a similar request at Reasoner Park last year. There's questions about will this disrupt operations for these properties? Will it disrupt any residential properties? Will they have to close down the street? So we asked those kind of questions again. And it's not anticipated to close either the cemetery or the nature center during this work. It won't impact any of the residential neighbors across the street, and they don't expect to close any of the streets during this work. I believe, and we have Scott Thomas from Consumers here as well, if you have follow-up questions. But I believe at Reasoner Park, they did directional boring rather than trenching work. During agency referral, Brett Kaczynski, Director of Parks and Recreation, said they have met and they toured the site and they don't expect any or major issues. They have discussed tree removal. We didn't get a number on that, so I don't know if they've marked sites yet. So I don't have those details. But that's part of my recommendation and that's part of the easement agreement as well, is that during site restoration, anything that gets removed has to be replanted elsewhere. So yeah, that's the basics of it. Planning Commission voted unanimously to approve it 6-0 at their September meeting. And then again, we have a rep from Consumers if you have any more detailed questions.
Yeah, and I see Brett Kaczynski says very little impact on the overall project. 33 feet from the actual street of East Mount Hope.
The property line, yes.
I thought I read somewhere here so many feet from the right of way, but I'm not seeing it now.
Oh yeah, I guess I said 33 feet from the right of way, not the property line.
Okay, right away. Okay. Yeah, it seems pretty cut and dry. Do you guys have any Councilman comments?
So it was brought up during the committee meeting, the planning board. If this was gonna cut on the inside of the fence that runs along the cemetery and the park, this was gonna cut deep into the park. Do you know that, where the line is? Or is this gonna be on the other side of that fence?
I would have to ask Mr. Thomas.
Yes, so I was one of the ones that walked with Brett as well, with the construction manager. And we will need to string pipe outside to weld the pipe, string it, weld it on tripods, so they'll need that extra space. Brett said it's okay, we can take down the fence. We don't have to replace the fence, but the gates need to remain. So we have to keep the gates both, where they are, but the fences says, because deer come in and out, he doesn't understand why some of those fences are up anyway. So if we do take the fences down, we don't have to replace, but we do have to replace the entrances gates.
So how deep into the park is this?
It's probably the easement's 15 feet. So they would probably need another 20, 30 feet in just some areas where they're stringing pipe. Just a few areas where they're stringing pipe.
Okay.
So in the tree count is 23.
And do we know if they're mature trees or are they?
Got price for the bread for the trees, and he wants them shipped. And then, what's that?
So can I ask a question?
Sure.
And so in terms of compensation, and this is really just a general.
Yeah.
I guess, easement question when we talk about private utility. Outside of those types of considerations, is there a standard in terms of compensation to the city for an easement? Is there
Yes,
compensation? Okay, what is that?
it's, we pay 60 to 80% of property value. And we have it priced at 10,000 an acre for both the cemetery and Fenner Park.
Okay.
And so obviously we're using around an acre, it's right around 10K, a little over 10K, in addition to trees.
Okay. Good. God, this is-
Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
Okay, perfect. I guess I'm confused. Is it because you said that this is to service Lansing customers, and are we talking new services, this replacing some other pipe somewhere?
Yes, this is another 8-inch line that was put in 1960,
Okay,
right along it.
got it.
So that's gonna be retired in place. So this has to be come in. And so that's why we need the.
So retire and replace, you just cap it and leave it? What does that look like?
Yes, it's
Okay.
only 8-inch, so we don't have to fill it.
Got it.
12, 16, something.
Gotta fill Got it.
So it's just gonna be retired in place. But there's not enough space within the existing right of way for another line. It's too close to that other line. Follow me?
Mhm.
So, I hit it, so we have to go outside. It's a must, the extra space.
And if approved by this body, what are you guys looking at in terms of construction timeline?
We are scheduled to start doing the tree work in early spring.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
So March, and then they're gonna do the bore, the directional bore in April, May, and that'll go for 4 months.
Got it.
Okay,
Completion of October 2026, is that what I've seen on this paper?
yes. Next year, so
And the site restoration looks like what after the project's done?
restoration, yeah, the restoration team will come in after they're done. In, a couple months, whatever. There shouldn't be that much restoration. So we're cutting on the underbrush, the 23, 24 trees. And then, so the restoration team come in after that.
Is there any other utilities in that area that we have to worry about? Other than that 8-inch gas line that's there existing?
No, not that I'm aware of.
What size, pipe is this going into? 12-inch pipe? Deal?
For you to cover at the minimum.
Hear me?
I'm sorry, Ryan, go ahead.
Yeah, so I guess I'll ask, the replacement trees, do we know, are they gonna be seedlings? Because that's gonna be the first thing that I hear from my constituents is why are they cutting the trees down?
The trees have to be cut down. Obviously, there's a lot more trees. It's just a lot highly wooded area, and they have to shoot it, to get the line right. And if the trees in the line, it's in the way, they have to take it down.
Yep.
So they were Brett I didn't walk with them when they marked the trees, but Brett walked in after and saw 23 trees, 23, 24. I'm pretty sure it's 23. That they have to take down.
Sure. And then once those are taken down, the gas line is done, what kind of trees will be going back up?
That was up, now that came up, that I wasn't involved in that conversation.
Our first site plans, our minimum is 2 caliper inches is what we required. But this isn't going through site plan, obviously. So I don't know if that's been hammered out in the easement agreement. But that's something we would suggest is 2 caliper inches.
Are they gonna be just little seedling trees?
But usually 2 caliper inches is a few years old, so they're not just saplings.
Did give the option to section the wood 6 to 8 foot, where you can keep it or chip it and Brett chose chip it.
Caliper inches to measure the trunk. Yep.
Now, my other question is, has there been any conversations with Fenner regarding any kind of species that may be in those trees that have to be removed? Like I know that there's, bats or and different kinds of birds.
Yes, so they're doing the bird migration studies right now. That's why we're not doing it. So for the nesting and bird flight patterns. And so once that's done, then we can schedule the tree work.
Okay, so when does this come to council then to vote on and be approved? Is next class, if we move it out of committee, do we?
It goes the 22nd, right?
So what do you think
Yeah.
about, I mean, obviously you guys aren't gonna start until, would you say April of next year?
Correct.
Why don't we, I don't know if it's proper to table it and to see until we get that bird study back and see. I mean, do we have time to do that?
I would ask.
I mean, because I'm saying, I'm
not involved in the bird study. I was just told,
I'd hate to approve something and there be some, endangered species in the trees and then we've already passed it. Is my thing.
I'm comfortable tabling it.
And how, do you know when that study is gonna be performed and how long it's gonna take?
I don't,
we still be able to stay on schedule.
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, if you, Mr. Fedewa, if you can come back to us or whoever and let us know how long this study is gonna take place, and then we'll just put you in a future development and planning committee meeting after we get the results back from that study.
If I could attach to that, can we get some photos of these trees and what species we're gonna put in there?
So I will move to table until the next meeting. And it sounds like the next meeting, we're probably gonna want to bring this up as as a discussion item. And then from there, we can make an informed decision in terms of when we'll see this back for the
And the next meeting is
The 24th
24th.
for DEP, yep.
So I'm gonna move to table,
Okay,
with the understanding that, those are the questions we want to answer, right? Okay.
So you want me to find out the bat?
I could talk to Joe.
yeah, and maybe have Brett come to our next meeting,
Yeah.
so we have some
Yeah.
questions, so he can answer
Perfect.
questions for us.
I'll make sure
Okay.
Sherry knows.
Thank you. And I don't see a problem with us being able to move forward on this. I mean, I just think there's some questions that are out there that aren't answered yet. And, I'd like to make sure we're doing due diligence for our constituents that may have those same concerns. So.
I concur.
Absolutely. Okay, so we have a proper motion on the table. All those in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Okay, thank you very much. Moving down to C, discussion committee budget priorities for fiscal year 2026. So, and these have to be, I guess we have until the 24th to decide, but needs to be adopted by the 29th.
Correct.
So we do have some, so I was looking at something and I guess we could talk about this afterwards, after committee meeting, but is there anything you guys want to add to this as of right now or remove?
I'm looking at it and I'm thinking 80,000 for an FTE compliance employee to ensure all development agreements are being allowed.
So that was something that was done
Yeah.
in the past that, like when we were having out of town contractors come in here that weren't paying, that they were 1099 in their employees, just make sure that the city's getting their income tax. Cause, we did have a full-time employee that did that in the past, from what I was told.
And it doesn't look like we got that this last pass.
They don't speak to it,
No,
the transmittal letter.
I
So
think,
I'm personally, I'm fine with that staying in. What do you think? Thoughts?
and then the additional,
They did for number 2, they moved that up from 175 to 225, I think, right?
25, 250,
Oh, they added 75,000.
75.
So it was at 150, now it's at 2.
Okay, yeah.
And for me, because there has been some, I mean, for me personally, and obviously it might not that pass the entire council, but I think the program has value. I think we have had one individual that's been pretty vocal. Everybody else has seemed to be pretty supportive throughout the community. I would like to see maybe either that increase to 250 or for us to at least put to sustain the 225 for the facade improvement program. I just want to make sure that that's not done away with.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's great. And I think we're starting to get South Lansing businesses actually get some of the money.
Yeah.
So I'm comfortable with
Because they're
having
also,
them at
one of the
250.
things they're doing, the LED, give LEDC, who is, and that's actually part of their contract. They are reimagining a little bit, the grants and
maybe it helps
what
with
the,
the
grant-
small.
what the grants can actually be used to fund and, technical support and all those types of things. So, they've done a nice job, I think, making sure that it's more actionable and implementable as a program. And so because of that, I think now you're starting to see, and they're doing a better job, I think, getting the word out. But it's just starting to trickle us out. So I hate to see if they could be done away with now.
Isn't there like other talks about potentially helping the smaller business owners getting money, some money up front?
Yes,
Instead of
they're
waiting
talking
till
about
they-
that too.
Instead
Right,
of waiting
yeah.
to the end?
Yeah.
No, I like that. I would support the 250.
Right, so keep it at
So
250?
just keep that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we know if the LEDC got that employee for focus on small business, minority business, female-owned business?
I don't know.
We did get, I believe, number 3, did we not?
The report, I think we
I'm
got a
pretty sure we
report,
did.
yeah.
So we can probably strike that.
Like number 1
3.
or 3?
Number 1. I know that, I think what they've done is I could be wrong, but I think and again, we can come back on the 24th after we talk to Chris, things like that. But I believe in the LEDC, they've absorbed a lot of this into existing positions. I don't think there's one person that is dedicated specifically to that. Almost like it's not like LEAP where you have Tony Lewis, right? That's like what he does.
Perhaps.
But I
we could
think-
have Chris here,
Yeah, we can bring Chris in.
see what they would need.
See about
Yeah,
bringing
it's a good
Chris
idea.
Klein in.
Good idea.
And so the other thing I was looking at, we just do this for discussion right now, but, is for, neighborhood revitalization, housing stabilization fund. So I just threw a number of 150,000 established targeted fund for neighborhood revitalization projects such as small scale housing, like elimination and home repair assistance for low to income, moderate income homeowners. And so this is to complement the facade improvement grants by focusing not only on commercial corridors, but also strengthen the residential neighborhoods.
Did you catch all that?
No.
I could-
I'll look back or
I
send
could
it to
send
me.
that to you. But I mean,
Yeah, I was gonna say, send it.
I wanted to bring that up as a topic of discussion and see, because there are some blighted neighborhoods that could use
Yep.
some help.
I think so. I think that they're,
It would be used for what? Read that one more time.
Yeah.
So the rationale would be to complement the facade improvement grant by focusing not only on commercial corridors, but also on strengthening residential neighborhood and prevent further property decline. So maybe, one of the neighborhoods that had like the house explosion or whatever, that may have affected it and they're having a hard time or they're taking the time to fix it or,
and I think there's the neighborhood grants, right, that these neighborhoods can ask for, but I think what you're asking for is something separate where neighborhood grants, this money could help things like, if you go down my street, we have the old cast iron streetlights.
Mhm.
They're starting to rust. They look bad. They could use a coat of paint.
Right. Right.
That could be something to improve the neighborhood or, because you mentioned blight removal.
Well, and I think what you're doing is, we have some of that, that we support through our CDBG, like our federal block grant programs. But I think what this does is dedicate, I'm for it, dedicate some general fund support for those types of areas. Maybe beyond what we're doing now. So maybe just work out the wording and then have it on here.
for next
Yeah,
meeting.
next
Okay.
meeting.
All right, perfect. Any other further discussion?
So I actually have been in conversation with Chris just about some things that they might need within their office. That's a great idea. Just bring them in. And then, because I think there are some absolute things that they need. Even when you look at, as an example, their contract hasn't kept up with inflationary rates, right? So they're not able to do some of the same programming that they used to be able to do, or they're really struggling to find additional dollars outside to do some of that programming. I just think right now, particularly where we're at with some of our corridors, some of the investments we're seeing, some of the things we're doing, like the CPAs. And I think now is the time to really make sure that we're being aggressive with marketing our city in terms of economic development, growing our city. But we need to make sure that our team is a team, right? That they have the capacity to actually do that work. So it's a great idea. Just bring it in.
Perfect.
Yeah. Cool.
Awesome. Any further discussion?
Well, just so I'm clear, so that I can make sure I have it for Sherry. Expecting her to be here for the next meeting.
Right.
I think number one, you want Chris Klein here. Number two, keeping as is. What did you,
And can we just too, when we ask Chris to be here, can we just make sure he understands that we're going through our budget priority? And we just want to know what they could use in
okay,
terms of FTE, in terms of maybe support for programming, financially, those such things.
Yeah, and then obviously number one, to find out if they did end up using this.
okay. And number two, right now, you said you guys are keeping as is. What did you, I mean, you've got stuff out here, the facade. You're
Yep.
gonna send me that stuff, though,
Yep, I
right?
will send that to you.
Okay. Did you make any decisions on 4 or 5?
No, I'm sorry.
4 was,
Back it up.
Was the engagement of stockholders?
Completion of community facilities plan.
Yeah,
Now, was this, to make sure that we're, was this, something, was this Brian Jackson's initiative to try to
I can't remember who.
make sure, like the buildings are
Oh, this was actually mine. So this has actually been something that I believe, because I've been kind of asking for, yep, what assets do we have, right? What are the value of those assets?
Oh,
What are
that's
we
right.
actually still using? And what can we maybe market to unload, right? Not only for, as a revenue source, but to get some of these things back out of the property taxes, create jobs, et cetera. And I don't think we've actually got one. At one point, I had heard we have some 117 like facilities throughout the city of Lansing. I have no idea what those are. So maybe we can, in the interim, find out if they're provided something like this. Have we?
no, a comprehensive report of our.
Yeah, I don't think we
No.
have.
No.
I don't remember seeing anything. So I
I
would
would be
suggest
curious
taking
to see what we have as,
it off. Yeah, absolutely.
list of facilities.
okay. So who would answer that? Mark Lawrence, maybe? Get him on after that?
I mean, you could, or we could just leave it in there and make sure that when we talk
Yeah,
about this.
meeting.
Yeah, we
You
can,
know,
we
I
can talk.
just didn't know if you were just keeping it
Yeah.
on there to, you can discuss it
and
at the next meeting.
Okay, and then for 5, I'm good with that, I mean, unless you guys have concerns.
No.
I don't have a concern.
Good deal.
Cool.
Any further discussion, guys?
No, good to go.
Well, with that, we are adjourned at 3:52.
Thanks, Green Lantern.
Thank you.
Oh,
Agree.
What did I say? Agree. Morning.